Hello everyone, this is Milo from Milo's Mystery Box here, and today I'm gonna be doing a vlog going shoe shopping, driving around for a little bit. Then I needed to go work on some studying for my general real estate appraisal license. But anyways, hope you're having a great day today, because I sure am. But anyways, yeah. So this is my first time doing a video in this type of format, you know, whether parked or driving around. Obviously, as you can see, I'm in a moving vehicle right now. But anyways, yeah. It's my first time doing this while driving my car. But luckily, as you can see, I'm wearing my Bears hat, and the Chicago Bears are going to be playing Green Bay Packers for the wild card, the first round of the NFL playoffs tonight. Go Bears, go, Monsters of Midway. But anyways, yeah, it's been about 6 months since I have gotten any new shoes, and every 6 months I make sure I get new shoes, because obviously I work out a lot, and it's good to keep up with that, because you don't, after a while, especially if you're working out constantly too, you don't want holes in your shoes like that. But anyways, so far this new year has gone off to a great start. Honestly, been wrapping up a lot of stuff with work. Got started with this YouTube channel, and now it's like, finally after a while, after having my own mental health and depression issues, I'm actually starting to do a lot more stuff again. I'm actually starting to get back into my hobbies more and more again, because as I kind of implied in a previous video of mine, I was in a sort of a relationship, a situationship with a woman who was like a childhood friend of mine, and that didn't work out. And obviously that's not the topic of today's video, but it really set me back, so much for like a year or so. And looking back on it now, I really should have gotten therapy for a lot of the trauma and the pain that I had experienced, but I didn't understand certain things about myself, or about how, me as a dude didn't really understand certain things with emotional intelligence, quite yet. I understand better now, but looking back on it, if I ever come across another situation like that with a not so great partner, then it's safe to say I've learned my lesson, and that I would need to get therapy immediately afterwards. And I never mentioned this in part yet, but also I had a lot of struggles with another former childhood friend who I thought was my friend, but didn't turn out that way due to unseen circumstances. And go figure, there was also involvement of many other quote unquote friends of this guy, and so-called potential people for me to date too. Anyways, I'm not gonna ramble on about that anymore. That's another video for another time. But yeah, I'm going to Shoe Carnival near where I live, because I need to go shoe shopping. It's been 6 months since the last time I got these shoes. But yeah, it's like I said with the Bears, go Bears. But yeah, I'm actually gonna be going with my friends tomorrow to the Indiana Dinosaur Museum in South Bend. As a little spoiler, I live just right outside of Gary, Indiana, and we're really close to the city of Chicago in Cook County, Illinois. I'll say that much for now. But I'm going with my friends to the Indiana Dinosaur Museum in South Bend tomorrow. I think that'll be a fun time, because a lot of the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World animatronics are there, and I'll definitely have to film parts of it to upload here to YouTube as well. But yeah, so anyways, I'm about to head in to go shoe shopping, and I'll continue on with the video as soon as I can. Alright, so I made it to Shoe Carnival. Obviously I can't I can't be filming the entire time I'm driving because I gotta be focusing on the road, especially as I was driving on the interstate. But anyways, yeah. Also, spoiler alert, like a certain somebody here on YouTube, I'm also a Sleep Token fan, and I've got a playlist with all the Sleep Token, Bad Omens, and Spirit Box music. Alright, so I've made it within the store. I found some shoes I'm going to try out, see what fits, what doesn't, if I have to select anything else, and be on my way. Hope one of these two pairs works. These aren't the worst shoes I've tried on. Like, they're comfortable, but the way you tie them and the lace length is, how it's much lesser on one versus the other, I can definitely find better. Definitely walking around in these, feel like I can do better, and I've done better before, so yeah, after trying so many more pairs of shoes on, there's just so many shoes that just wouldn't try to, my feet wouldn't try to fit into them. It'd take a while to budge, or if I did get something on, it didn't feel right. But these are similar to my other shoes that I have, so I'm gonna try walking around in these to see. Okay, these fit. Are they comfortable? Yeah, they're actually really comfortable. Might not be as wide as the shoes I had before, but might be the best option if I can't find anything else to my liking. Yeah, these feel relatively nice. Yeah. Well, after trying enough pairs of shoes, I finally got a pair that actually fits, my size, 13 here, for shoe sizes in the US. And now as a result, I feel like I can actually complete the transaction. By far, this has taken the longest amount of time to find something that fits my foot, essentially, but I've gotten Adidas shoes before, but usually I go with, I don't know, like Under Armour or Nike, but in this case, seems like the best match is an Adidas pair of shoes. So I finally finished up with my shoe shopping at Shoe Carnival. Usually it doesn't take me about an hour or more to find something. I can usually find something, like fairly quickly, but unfortunately, because there just wasn't a lot of good fitting shoes at size 13, I kind of had to search around the store a bit more than I did. Didn't have anything with Under Armour, which Under Armour has the super wide shoes, and typically I really like those. Adidas has had some relatively wide shoes for me in the past. I used to wear a lot of Vans. What is it? I also used to wear some Nikes too, but I did find a different pair of Adidas that a little bit different from the bulkier shoes I've gotten before. In fact, so these are the shoes. Kind of a little bit look a little bit more similar to the Vans shoes, but obviously it's a bit more not monocolor, but double color, I guess. But I'd say this is a pretty successful shopping trip because these are the only shoes that are able to fit, and if there weren't any shoes that fit, despite what I said in one of the other clips, I would have just either come back another day, or I would have gone to another town near where I live or in Illinois to find some shoes. But anyways, luckily I was able to find something close locally to me. So now it's study time. Yay! And my brother should be... he's actually working today to make up for some lost time, so I'll actually run into him there. All right, so I've made it to my office. Just studying soon. As you can hear in the background, I've got Dark Signs by Sleep Token playing, and I'm sure anybody who's a fan of that band, any other similar bands, could appreciate that. But anyways, I can listen to more of that while I'm studying at my computer. It's time I go in the office. Alright, so yeah, so a lot of times Um, so a lot of times when I have an ongoing course for one of my for one of, my appraisal license, because obviously the way it works is I had to take some courses to get a trainee license to even become an appraiser at all to begin with. So I kind of worked as like a data professional for like the first year, just mostly doing data cleanup in the office and whatnot. Then for almost a year now, so it's almost been 2 years since I've been doing this. I've had my trainee license. So now it's like with that, obviously the intention is I gotta take some more classes. I think like 7, 8, or 9 courses total with like I believe a total of 3,500 hours or 3,000 hours, half residential, being like 1 to 4 units of residential real estate. Then the other, 1,500 hours has to be any other type of real estate, including 5 plus residential. So obviously a lot of that, it's going to take a few years to get. And then of course there's designations for both residential and general, after I get my certified general, because you can also get a residential license before a general license. But the way I'm going for it, because you have to have a bachelor's degree to get the general license, I'm just going straight for that. But yeah, and my brother, who's going for his residential license, just needed an associate's degree, and that's what he's doing. But anyways, about to walk into the office. All right. Yeah, so I'm about to study, but yeah, unfortunately my brother didn't want to be a part of the video, so I had to edit that part out, which, you know what? If you prefer privacy and don't want to be on the internet, I completely understand. But otherwise, yeah, I'm about to do my own studying for a bit. Yeah, let's see. So how I do my studying? Oh, okay. So I have to log in. So I'm obviously not going to show that part. Well, I guess I'm just signing in with Google, but I'm not gonna dox myself or my dad. So or my brother for that matter. But anyways, now I can't show any of the contents within these study sets or any of the files that I use to study within Word or Excel, because the way a lot of our ethics and other rules and regulations provisions work within our industry, I can't show anything on camera that would be confidential information, sadly. Usually that has to do with appraisal assignments, but even with stuff from like the Appraisal Institute or the other powers that be that are at a near federal level or state level, I don't want to get into that. But anyways, I use OmniSets to study, which is, the free equivalent, independent equivalent of Quizlet. Unfortunately, since I got out of college 3.5 years ago, Quizlet is not the same service that it used to be. So I was able to port all those study sets over from OmniSets. Well, no, from Quizlet to OmniSets, and I've created more study sets here on OmniSets since then. The current class I'm working on is Income 2. All the other courses on here were when I took my trainee license. But otherwise, yeah, so unfortunately, I can't really, like I said, I can't really show anything. I have to blur out some of the names of cities and towns, on our storage boxes, our bankers boxes, and obviously I have to respect other privacy concerns too. But anyway, we're professionals here. But anyways, yeah, so nice thing is too, I've got Spotify and even some games on my computer for when we have nothing going on. Yeah, essentially, sometimes when I'm working, I'll listen to music if I don't need to focus. But yeah, I've got a lot of playlists, a lot of A lot of artists I've been getting into. Obviously, as I said before, Sleep Token, Bad Omens, and Spirit Box are just a handful. I also listen to bands like Camelot and Sabaton. I also listen to a lot of rappers, some mainstream rappers, some underground rappers like Buffalo Griselda. I also listen to a lot of the rappers, more mainstream rappers out of Detroit that have been blowing up, like Rio the Young OG. I listen mostly to metal at this point, though. That's just my personal preference. But yeah. Anyway, um, probably gonna be busy socializing with people later. Because it's Bears Packers game tonight. Go Chicago Bears! Beat the pack. And it's gonna be in Chicago too, since the Bears had the better overall record for this season. But anyways, with that being said, hope you all have a good night, and I'll see you in the next one.